So this is, I think, the 9th vlog that we've done during lockdown. I'm beginning to lose track of how many days we've been in this situation, but I think it's about 58 now. So today we're going to look at a few of the best of the later flowering rhododendrons. And I'm standing in front of something that really is absolutely spectacular. This is Rhododendron Lindley Monarch, and it was a hybrid raised in 1971. These plants were planted here about 18 years ago, and they've been fairly slow growing, but they have a lovely compact shape. And as you can see, the buds are this beautiful pink, and then they open out and gradually fade to white with lovely little polka dot impressions on the top of the petals there. And it's nice that the whole plant doesn't come out all in one go, although I think if we had rain in the next couple of days, as I hope we will, it would probably rush out a bit more. But what a spectacular plant that is. What a staggering show, and I'm just so sad that everybody's missing it apart from us. So here is a completely different sort of rhododendron, both in terms of growth habit, overall height, and indeed in colour. And this is Rhododendron Fabia, which is one of the best known orange coloured rhododendron hybrids. It was bred by the then Lord Aberconwy at Bodnant in 1927, but it wasn't registered with the Rhododendron Society until 1957. And it's in fact a hybrid between two species, one of which is Dichroanthum and the other of which is Griersonia. And it's the Dichroanthum, the dark and the lighter red crosses, which produces this lovely orange hue. And you see also that at the base of each flower you've got a very large orangey calyx. And that is a big giveaway as to its parentage, because the parent species have those large calyxes as well, which by no means all rhododendrons do. So this little clump will probably eventually grow to about 5 or 6 feet in height with a similar spread. Relatively short-lived in our climate, probably 30, 40 years before they start to go back a bit on themselves. But as a colour, which you don't often see in nature and very seldom in rhododendrons, isn't this a real wow? So this is another species rhododendron. This is Rhododendron decorum. It can be white or pink, but is most commonly white as here. And this one has a most tremendous scent. It's a bit overcast today, but on a sunnier day you'd see insects working the flowers, and when you look closely into the flowers, they may look very white from a distance, but we've got a little bit of yellowish and red speckling inside the flowers. This is a very floriferous species which flowers pleasantly late in the season, and actually I've often seen it in flower in late June and early July rather than in Chelsea Flower Show week as we are now. So here's a completely different sort of rhododendron yet again. This is another species called Rhododendron Lindley I, and it wouldn't win any prizes for being a shapely bush, because out in the wild this often grows in crevices of trees or in the branches and ferns in the upper story of forests in Bhutan and Nepal. It's Rhododendron Lindley I, and it is the last one of the very greatly scented rhododendrons to put on a show. And this is something we would normally take with us to the Chelsea Flower Show, cutting something in tight bud like that, where the pink is showing nicely, and hoping that 4 or 5 days later up at Chelsea it would open out into something like that, where the pink has more or less disappeared. But if we pan round and look into this clump, this is a very short-lived rhododendron. Their life cycle is probably 15 to 20 years. They grow in a very leggy fashion, and it's a year or two before they flower. But the flowers are extremely scented and very, very attractive, and you just have to put up with the fact that it isn't a very nicely shaped bush. If you try and prune them to make them bush up and thicken up a bit, you cut the branch and it simply puts up one new growth shoot and defeats the objective. So you're just as well to let them go, look a bit ugly through the year, possibly even grow them in a pot in the conservatory. But when you smell the smell, there's nothing as exquisite at this time of the year in late May. And were it on the stand at Chelsea, people would be sticking their noses in it until they'd bruised and battered it. But here, it's looking lovely. So this is Rhododendron Nancy Evans. It has a very different red colour in bud, and then it opens with a bit of sort of reddy pink, and then it turns this lovely orangey yellow, or probably almost a true yellow. This is about the maximum height that it grows to, and these 3 plants are grown in a group which has been here for, I expect, 25 years or so. Backing onto it in the back is that rather sparsely flowered Rhododendron griersonianum, but we don't often have the luxury of 2 rhododendrons flowering at the same time with a nice colour contrast, but here we've actually got one. I don't know what your preference for colour is, but yellows are always popular. No great scent here, but what a fantastic colour to finish off just a little trip in the Caerhays garden today, and yet more of what sadly we've all been missing.